Hare Krishna. We continue reading from introduction of Sri Isopanishad. We had read some part of the introduction yesterday where we understood that we are not perfect. Every living entity has 4 defects. We have imperfect senses. We make mistakes. We are in illusion. Our illusion is we are thinking we are the controller, the master, the enjoyer. We are thinking we are the body. That's our illusion. And then we have the cheating propensity. So because of that, all the knowledge that we say is according to me, I think, or whatever, any knowledge which is given by any living entity, a conditioned living entity, it is defective. So that's the reason we need to hear from the Vedic scriptures. The Vedic knowledge, the Vedas are not compilations of human knowledge. Vedic knowledge comes from the spiritual world, from Lord Krishna. So the original speaker of the Vedas is Lord Krishna. This knowledge is not, where is it coming from? It's coming from the spiritual world. Another name for the Vedas is Shruti. Shruti refers to that knowledge which is acquired by hearing. So in ancient Vedic times, people's memories were very, very sharp. They just had to hear it once. They could understand it. The knowledge, Brahmaji, Krishna spoke to Brahmaji once. He just revealed it in his heart and Brahmaji understood it perfectly. And then Brahmaji spoke it to Narad. Narad Muni understood it perfectly. It was coming by hearing. But what happens? Vyasadev compiled it. He wrote it down, recorded it. Why? Because he knows we Kali-yuga people are coming. Our memories are very short. We are not able to focus and pay attention for everything. So we have to keep reading it. So that's why he recorded it. But anyway, Vedic knowledge was passed from from guru to disciple through Shruti, hearing. It is not experimental knowledge. It's not that it is, maybe okay, we are going to hear the example. Shruti is considered to be like a mother. We take so much knowledge from our mother. For example, if you want to know who your father is, who can answer you? You know, if we want to know who's our father, then who can answer us? Your mother. If the mother says, here is your father, you have to accept it. It is not possible to experiment to find out whether he is your father. Well, nowadays, maybe you could do a DNA test. You know, that's what we want to do. But originally, it is you hear from the mother says, this is your dad, and we accept it. We don't say, no, you might be wrong. Let me go and ask everyone in this world. Are you my father? Are you my father? Let me go and ask everyone in this world. Is that possible? Oh, well, maybe if we can take the time and energy and effort, we might be able to ask everyone. And then somebody might lie, you know, somebody might cheat us, misguide us. So why not save ourselves all the time and trouble? Save our own energy. Just accept what the mother is saying, you know. Similarly, if you want to know something beyond your experience, beyond your experimental knowledge, beyond the activities of the senses, then you have to accept the Vedas. There is no question of experimenting. It has already been experimented. It is already settled. The version of the mother, for instance, has to be accepted as truth. There is no other way. The child simply has to accept. He cannot know he was not there to see who's my father, who's my mother conceiving with. He just has to accept what my mother is saying is true. This is my father. I accept it and I move on. And I have my relationship with a loving relationship with my father. But if my whole life I'm going to try to find out who's my father, go around the whole world, I might waste lifetimes. It might not be possible for me. And then what did I do in bargain? I did not have a loving relationship with my father. You know, I lost on that. I missed out on all the love that I could have had. So to cut short the matter, we accept the Vedas. The Vedas are considered to be the mother, and Brahma is called the grandfather, the forefather, because he was the first to be instructed in the Vedic knowledge. So Vedas, their mother, they are spoken by Krishna. Krishna gave this Vedic knowledge first to Brahmaji, because he is the oldest person within our universe. Within our universe. He's the first creature. In the beginning, the first living creature was Brahma. And then, so then we cannot say, oh, Brahma is God. No, Brahma is the first creature inside this material universe. Like that, there are so many millions of universes, and there is Brahma in every universe. There is some Brahma which is 4 heads, some 10 heads, some 1,000 heads, some million heads, depending on the size of the universe. Our universe is smallest, so our Brahmaji has only 4 heads. And where does Brahmaji come from? He comes from Krishna. Okay. Krishna, Brahmaji says, Govindam Adi Purusham Tam Aham Bhajami. Oh Lord Govinda, you are my seed-giving father. So he received this Vedic knowledge and imparted it to Narad and other disciples and sons, and they also distributed it to their disciples. So we have been hearing in Srimad Bhagavatam that how Krishna created this material universe, how Mahavishnu was there, all the universes are coming from him. Then inside every universe, Garbhodakshay Vishnu is going, Brahmaji is sitting on top. Brahmaji does not know what to do. So Krishna is giving him all the Vedic knowledge. And then Brahmaji is starting the secondary creation. And then Brahmaji is giving this knowledge to Narad Muni. And then he's also giving it to other sons. And then Narad Muni is giving it to his disciples. We are hearing it all in detail in Srimad Bhagavatam. The whole story of how it's happening here is mentioned in a short way. So the details, if anyone wants, have to read Bhagavatam. In this way, the Vedic knowledge comes down by disciplic succession. So the knowledge is coming in disciplic succession. Krishna gave it to Brahmaji, Brahmaji to Narad, Narad to Vyasadev, Vyasadev to Madhvacharya, like that. And we are also hearing it in the Parampara system. It is also confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita that Vedic knowledge is understood in this way. If you make experimental endeavor, you will come to the same conclusion. But just to save time, you should accept it. If you want to know who your father is, and if you accept your mother as the authority, then whatever she says can be accepted without argument. So we just accept it without argument. Otherwise, you are wasting time. We are wasting our energy. We are wasting our efforts, in trying to come to the conclusion which is already there. The conclusion is there, but just because I want to experiment it, I'm wasting my own time. Anyway, so there are 3 kinds of evidence. What are the evidence? Pratyaksh, Anuman, and Shabda. Okay, there are 3 kinds of evidence. Pratyaksha. What means Pratyaksha? Pratyaksh means direct evidence. Direct evidence is Pratyaksha, which is not very good. Why? Why is direct evidence not good? I am seeing it myself. How can it be not good? If I'm seeing it, it has to be true. Why? Because our senses are not perfect. I am seeing the sun. So we are seeing the sun daily, and it appears to us just like a small disk. But it is actually far, far larger than many planets. Of what value is this seeing? Therefore, we have to read books. Then we can understand about the sun. So, direct experience is not perfect. So we cannot say, oh, just because I saw it, it's true. We are seeing the sun every day, and we are seeing it's so tiny. But if we hear actually about the sun, it's huge, It's giving light to all the planets of the universe. So then there is no value, right? Oh, I heard it. but we might have heard it in the wrong context. Oh, I heard it, so it must be like this. Then we put in our must. But that must is, but I'm defective. How can I be so sure of it? So direct experience is not perfect. Then there is anuman. Here now we are saying inductive knowledge. It may be like this. Hypothesis. Anuman. I think it may be like this. We are using our mind. So first we saw, then we know. Okay, it's not perfect. Then I'm hearing something hodgepodge. Then maybe it must be like this. Or I'm imagining maybe it's something like this. How can it be totally reliable? If I myself am not sure about something, well, I am sure because I think I'm great. So whatever I'm thinking is the perfect. But is it really perfect? Is it really perfect? Our mind. Do we think our minds are perfect? I can think and act, I'm the queen of the universe. Does it really make me the queen of the universe? No. For instance, Darwin's theory says it may be like this. It may be like that. But that is not science. That is a suggestion. And it is also not perfect. So maybe it's like this, maybe it's like that. But is it the truth? What is the truth? But if you receive the knowledge from the authoritative sources, that is perfect. If you receive a program guide from the radio station authorities, you accept it. You don't deny it. You don't have to make an experiment because it is received from the authoritative sources. So those days it was radio. Now maybe we have a full day seminar happening. And they have already given the schedule. This time, this thing's going to happen. This time, this thing's going to happen. But I say, no, I'm not going to believe in the schedule. I will just experiment myself. What is the schedule? Let me see. I'm just going to waste my time. Nobody else's. What I could have done, just follow the schedule, see what's important to me and attend that. But I said, no, I'm not going to follow it. I'm going to just see whatever is mine. Maybe they're not telling me the truth. Oh, why will they not tell you the truth? Why will they not want you to attend the program? They're doing the program is for your benefit, right? So why will they not tell you what's the truth in the program? Vedic knowledge is called Shabda Praman. Another name is Shruti, means that this knowledge has to be received simply by oral reception. So Shabda Praman, knowledge which is received by hearing from the authorities, from the authoritative sources. Just like we said, we got a program. The organizers told us that this is the schedule. So that is the perfect knowledge in that case. So anyway, so the Vedas instruct that in order to understand transcendental knowledge, we have to hear from authority. Transcendental knowledge is knowledge from beyond this universe. Within this universe is material knowledge, and beyond this universe is transcendental knowledge. We cannot even go to the end of the universe. So how can we go to the spiritual world? Thus, to acquire full knowledge is impossible. So we can see if we want to have some perfect knowledge, even in the material world, we have to go to the authority. I have to learn under my teacher all the A, B, C, D, proper sentences, then grammar, everything. Then I will be able to read and write. I'm hearing from the authority. But if I say, no, you are just want to misguide me. Maybe A is not A, maybe it's something else. And I distrust her. Where is it going to lead me? I will say, no, I will make up my own way of reading and writing. Where is it going to lead me? I'm just going to be frustrated. I will just waste my own time and energy. Rather, I can understand properly, learn from the teacher, and make use of what I'm learning. So material knowledge also we need to learn from authority. Similarly, we want to understand about spiritual knowledge, transcendental knowledge. Then we have to learn from the authority. The spiritual knowledge is coming from the spiritual world. And we just said that the Vedas are coming from Krishna. Right? This is transcendental knowledge. Okay. We cannot say, okay, I'm going to take a spaceship and go. Scientists are trying to make so many spaceships or whatever you may call it nowadays, but they're barely even able to reach even the nearby planets. What to speak of the spiritual world, which is so far away. But does it mean that just because I cannot reach the spiritual world, it does not exist? Again, that is my theory. Oh, because nobody has gone to the spiritual world, so I think it does not exist. Again, it comes, I think. But what's the value of your thinking? What is the value of this thinking if it's just going to create unnecessary trouble for others and for my own self? Right? Like that, we can think anything, but what is the value of the thinking? And just because of me thinking the spiritual world does not exist, is it going to stop existing? No, the truth is always going to be the truth. The truth is never going to change. The truth always exists. So that the spiritual world is a truth, is eternal, it is there. The descriptions are there in the Vedic scriptures. There is a spiritual sky, there is another nature, which is beyond manifestation and non-manifestation. What does it mean? Manifestation and non-manifestation. This material world is sometimes manifest. We can see it sometimes. The whole creation is happening. As we are reading in Bhagavatam, again, all the detailed knowledge is given in Bhagavatam. That's why it's so important to study Srimad Bhagavatam. And then for some time, it becomes unmanifest. That is the material world. But what about the spiritual world? The spiritual world eternally exists. Eternally. It's never destroyed. It's never destroyed. Always there. But how will you know that there is a sky where the planets and inhabitants are eternal? All this knowledge is there. But how will you make experiments? It is not possible. Therefore, you have to take the assistance of the Vedas. This is called Vedic knowledge. Okay, so to understand about the spiritual world, we are taking knowledge from the Vedic scriptures. So our knowledge is perfect. In our Krishna consciousness movement, we are accepting knowledge from the highest authority, Krishna. Krishna is accepted as the highest authority by all classes of men. So Krishna, there is no one higher than Krishna. No one. We go to a Supreme Court. What is the highest court? Well, I think maybe it's the Supreme Court. So whatever judgment that judge gives, that's it. Or maybe the president. Okay, so the highest person in a country is the president. There's no more higher authority. No more higher than that. In that same Krishna, he's the highest authority everywhere in the material world, in the spiritual world. There is no one higher than Krishna. So I am speaking first of the two classes of transcendentalists. One class of transcendentalists is called impersonalistic Mayavadi. They are generally known as Vedantists, led by Shankaracharya. And there is another class of transcendentalists called Vaishnavas, like Ramanujacharya, Madhvacharya, Vishnu Swami. Okay, so transcendentalist, one who wants to understand about spirituality, means transcendentalist, one who wants to understand what is spiritual, what is material, what is actually happening. So there are two types. One are called the impersonalist, Mayavadi. They are known as Vedantists. Their concept is limited to, their understanding is limited than to the Brahman platform. Then there is the Vaishnavas, Ramanujacharya, Madhvacharya, Vishnu Swami. Now, both the Shankara Sampradaya and the Vaishnava Sampradaya have accepted Krishna as the supreme personality of Godhead. So we are hearing that even the impersonalism, who started it is Shankaracharya. Shankaracharya started the impersonalist philosophy. So he's the leader of the impersonalist philosophy. But what does he do? He accepts Krishna as the supreme personality of Godhead, that Krishna is a person and he's supreme. Even he is accepting it. Vaishnavas, of course, they accept it. That's what the Vaishnavas always say, that, that's the Supreme Lord is Krishna. So Shankaracharya is supposed to be an impersonalist who preached impersonalism, impersonal Brahman. But it is a fact that he is a covered personalist. Now, very important, Shankaracharya is supposed to be an impersonalist. So Shankaracharya is the one who started this impersonal theory that God is light. He's the one to have started this theory. But he is actually a personalist. He knows that God is not light, that God is just light is a feature of God, and that God is a person, and that person's name is Krishna. He knows. That's why he's called a covered personalist. What does a personalist mean? What does an impersonalist mean? The personalist means God is a person, we are persons. Of course, we are all eternal. What does impersonal mean? Impersonal means God is not a person, I'm also not a person. We are just some energy. Okay. But Shankaracharya, he is the head of the impersonal sampradaya, yet he says that, let's see what he says. In his commentary on the Bhagavad Gita, he wrote, Narayana, the supreme personality of Godhead, is beyond this cosmic manifestation. So even the leader of the group of people who say that God is just energy and we are energy, their leader, what does he say in his commentary on Bhagavad Gita? That Narayan, the supreme personality of Godhead, is beyond this cosmic manifestation. That the Supreme Lord, he's a person, and his form is not of Maya. He's transcendental, he's spiritual, and he's the supreme person. Then again, he confirmed that supreme personality of God, Narayan, is Krishna. He has come as the son of Devaki and Vasudeva. He particularly mentioned the names of his father and mother. So Krishna is accepted as the supreme personality of Godhead by all transcendentalists. There is no doubt about it. Okay, so there's no doubt, because Shankaracharya himself has also declared. What is he saying? That Narayan is the Supreme Lord. He is not Maya. He is eternal. He's spiritual. And that Narayan, who is he? He is actually that supreme personality of Godhead. Who is the supreme person? Is Krishna. And he said, who is Krishna? The son of Devaki and Vasudeva. So it's so clearly mentioned. So all the transcendentalists, no matter whether they are impersonalists or whether they are personalists, they accept Krishna as the supreme personality of Godhead. Our source of knowledge is Krishna consciousness. Our source of knowledge in Krishna consciousness is the Bhagavad Gita, which comes directly from Krishna. So Bhagavad Gita, we know, is the song of God. Bhagavad Gita, God, Gita song, Bhagavad Gita. And we all know Krishna spoke the Bhagavad Gita. So this knowledge is coming directly from Krishna. We have published Bhagavad Gita as it is because we accept Krishna as he is speaking without any interpretation. That is Vedic knowledge. So why Bhagavad Gita as it is? Because the words of Krishna as he spoke it, not putting Prabhupada, never in the full entire Bhagavad Gita puts, according to me, it should be like this. Maybe it's like that. It should be, it must be, nothing. It's just Lord Krishna said this. There is no room for misinterpretation. And that's why even the great Vedic scholars who read Bhagavad Gita as it is appreciate Srila Prabhupada's translation. all the Sanskrit scholars, because word to word, that's the reason Srila Prabhupada puts word to word meaning in Sanskrit, then he puts it in the translation, whichever it may be, English, Hindi, Chinese, but it's word to word as Krishna spoke. That is Vedic knowledge. Since the Vedic knowledge is pure, we accept it. Whatever Krishna says, we accept. This is Krishna consciousness. That saves much time. If you accept the right authority or source of knowledge, then you save much time. We are doing ourselves a favor when we are accepting Krishna's knowledge, his authority. Otherwise we are just going to waste our own time and end up in frustration. For example, there are two systems of knowledge in the material world, inductive and deductive. So there are two systems of knowledge. What is system in the material world? Not spiritual. Spiritual is coming in the parampara system. So material, inductive and deductive. From deductive, you can accept that man is mortal. Your father says man is mortal. Your sister says man is mortal. Everyone says man is mortal. But you do not experiment it. You accept it as a fact that man is mortal. If you want to research to find out whether man is mortal, you have to study each and every man. And you may come to think that there may be some man who's not dying, but you have not seen him yet. So in this way, your research will never be finished. Yeah? If I'm not going to accept that everyone is going to die, if I don't accept this, I will go around trying to make research. But in that way, I myself will die, and yet my research wouldn't be finished. Isn't it? We just have to accept it. And we might, because if I'm going to do this research myself, I will think, oh, maybe there's somebody, I haven't gone to this place. There might be someone who's not yet dead, who's living eternally. So in this way, your research will never be finished. In Sanskrit, this process is called aroha, the ascending process. This is ascending, that I want to make sure what is happening. I want to see. I want to know. That is ascending. What is deductive? I just accept. Yes, man is mortal. Why do I accept it? My father told me, my sister told me. They are my authorities. My father is more experienced. He's seen many people dying. He's seen his father, his father's father, he's seen. So I accept his authority. So if you want to attain knowledge by any personal endeavor, by exercising your imperfect senses, you will never come to the right conclusions. That is not possible. So if we want to get the true gyan, the knowledge is what? Gyan, right? But if I want to attain gyan by my personal endeavor, I am going to find what is the truth. But I do not have the proper apparatus. My senses are imperfect. I make mistakes. I'm an illusion. I'm cheating. Then that means what? My gyan, my knowledge is always going to be imperfect. I will not understand the truth. It is not possible to understand the truth in this way. Is that okay? So we'll stop here for today. Are there any questions or comments? Now what we have read? No, then we'll stop here. Shri Isopanishad ki jai, Shila Prabhupada ki jai.